Hi folks, this is Dr. Kat Schreier, the Water Mumble journalist, be in the know with the WaWa Mojo on thewatershow.org and WaterCitizenNews.com. And I'm here with the incredible Carla, Reid, head of Washington, I'm going to say it right now, Washington Sanitary
Suburban.
Suburban. And I lived in Washington. Okay, I know this. Washington Suburban Sanitary.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Which is in the D.C. area, but not in D.C. It's the Maryland,
yes.
the big counties, just right alongside there. Right alongside D.C.
Yes, right. That's right. Exactly
yes. So
right.
it's, well, actually, why don't you tell us what WSSC is?
Well, WSSC is the largest water and wastewater utility in the state of Maryland, one of the largest in the country, and we have an incredible record of no water quality violations in our 100-year history.
Nice. Wow. That is a remarkable record there.
And we have 1.8 million customers.
Yeah.
And we serve Prince George's and Montgomery counties.
And we just finished a session here sponsored by AWWA's, American Water Works Association's Diversity and Member Inclusion Committee,
yes.
Talking about the value of women water leaders, in women leaders more generally as well, but especially in the water industry. And we've been interviewing since 2012 with Pat Mulroy. We've been interviewing every women water utility head that we can find.
Oh wow!
Yes, so it's been quite a record. And so tell first of all, just the summary version. I know we got all of this on tape as well, but so the summary version of where you got started and how you got where you are.
I got started, actually, I will make WSSC the place where I consider myself to be started in my career. I came in as an entry-level civil engineer, and I worked at WSSC for 20 years, going from civil engineer to deputy general manager. Had a break in my career for 10 years. From WSSC, I was still working, but for 10 years I was away from WSSC, and I worked in each of the counties that we serve. I first went to Montgomery County and did permitting. So I was the director of permitting services in Montgomery County, and then I went to Prince George's County, where I was the deputy chief administrative officer for economic development and public infrastructure. So everything from the Department of Transportation, the Department of the Environment, and I created a permitting department combining several small organizations there. And I also was responsible for tourism and financial services and things like that. Anything that was needed to make a project go in Prince George's County was my responsibility. And then I got an opportunity of a lifetime when the CEO position at WSSC became vacant in 2016, and I applied for it, and I was a successful candidate, and I got to go back to WSSC because I love it so much. I mean, I'm not, a crazy person. I love WSSC, and that's the reason why I went back. People don't go back to places that aren't good. And I went back to WSSC because I believe in the water industry and the importance of what we do.
And we we talked a little bit at this the panel that just finished about the importance of having diversity of ideas and also recognizing, reflecting the customer base. And having worked in D.C. for a long time, did a lot of work with the D.C. Water Institute, the only historically black college or university to have a water institute. I mean, race is just a part of that region, and everything has some consideration of how does it help? How does it reflect the customer base for racial diversity as well as being a woman and being able to deal with some of the sensitive issues?
Well, I think that we have to recognize people for their unique qualities and what they bring to the table. So people generally think about diversity. The first thing they think about is race, but there are so many other considerations. Age is one of the considerations, one of the beautiful differences that we have. Gender, of course, and then just language and all of those things make a place rich. And so having an appreciation for that and knowing that if you want to be relatable, if you want to identify with the issues that are important to the community that you're serving, then you should have some sensitivity around those qualities when you go to take issues before the community to get their input on and think about how they are going to receive it. What is it going to mean to them when they hear certain things? So, but it just really boils down to appreciating what people bring to the table, their differences, and including them in the conversation.
Yeah. And we've been interviewing a lot of folks about the many different ways of thinking about diversity. We're at the board meeting for AWWA. We're one of the vice presidents, Reid, talked about having grown up in the diversity university where when people were struggling in low-income communities,
right,
it didn't really matter. Everybody was kind of in the same boat. And I know you talk a lot about affordability and those considerations as one of your 3 A's.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. So we have to be conscious of the maintenance that we have aging infrastructure. We're a 100-year organization, and 50% of our infrastructure is 40% is over 50 years old, and so we have to be very conscious of that and make sure that we are communicating the value of water and the importance of being able to deliver water without any water quality violations. And so that takes money, but it also takes us understanding and communicating what that means to the community, and so that they will be more willing to pay what it takes to upgrade the system and make sure that we continue to have safe water supply. And it's also critical that we explain, we don't want our customers to feel burdened by having to pay a water bill. So what we really need to do is we need to engage all aspects of the community, meaning the state, the federal, local levels, in what that burden share is, and have them have a recognition that because our infrastructure is buried doesn't mean that it should be forgotten. It should be in the forefront of our mind, and we should not be taking water and water quality for granted.
Awesome. We got one more person to interview on the panel. But there was another question I want to ask you that there was a real period where we were seeing a lot of women getting to the number 2 spot, which you were in, and relayed the story of not necessarily the same leadership style, but when women do find that they're not getting the job and they leave the industry. Which was happening a lot 10 years ago. Is there any interest in recognition if somebody has left the industry, gone out on their own, or done something completely different, to be able to bring them back in, after?
Of course, and that's exactly what I did. I reconciled myself to the fact that it wasn't my time to be number 1. And I went away and did something else, gained more experience. And then when I came back to compete again the second time, I had differentiators that set me apart from people who I was competing with. Nobody could compete with having been a resident in both counties, having worked in both counties, having an intimate knowledge of what those counties expect of the water utility, and being able to communicate that as well as my work history is what I think people should be encouraged that they can do the same thing and come back and be number one.
Awesome. Well, you are definitely number one in our book, and we do appreciate everything. Actually, Jill just had to leave. I did want to, one more thing. You spoke at the WEF in front of 20,000 people or so. They had 3 women come out and talk about their mentors and their experiences and everything. And we do sometimes see women kind of rolled out for hey, look, it's World Women's Day, it's Women's History Month, it's whatever. Where are we really getting a chance to talk not just about the successes but also about the challenges?
Yeah, I think that's really a real important part of this whole journey. That understand that we're playing the long game. You're not playing for a short period of time. You're playing for your entire career, and in that entire career, things happen that are clear successes, and other things happen that some may classify as a failure. But I don't see failure in anything. I see a learning experience, and the way we deal with those learning experiences are really what make the total person and make the long game worth it. Don't give up just because something didn't go your way. You just you keep at it and you do it a different way, or you just do it. You just keep at it. I think the persistence and determination and dedication are what really separates us from people who just give up.
Well, I know we've got folks out there who have been trained in science and engineering and worked in the water field and left for whatever reason, and maybe there's room to come back. So
I hope they do.
All right.
Because we need a whole lot of good people in this industry.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you.
All right.